I want to editorialize. I want to pontificate about Pam and Tommy and make an argument of why you shouldn't watch this series until at least Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee have said, you know what? We've talked to the producers. We have reviewed enough of it ourselves to go, yeah, we're cool with this. Here's my thing about this. For those of you who don't know, it is ostensibly the story about the theft of a sex tape these Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee made when they were married, and the insanity that ensued when somebody else got a hold of it and turned it into a video and sold it, pre-internet, but sort of driven by the internet. You could order it online. It got online. Anyway, that's basically the gist of the actual news story, the core of what this series is about. What is a couple of things that are interesting is both Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson, but especially Pamela Anderson, has come out and quite clearly and vociferously said, I never gave my consent to this. I have not seen it. It is like reliving that trauma of my sex life being exposed that way. And the reason I thought about this more, not that I was all that interested anyway, but there's like two things that came up. One, John Campea, and I'll put a link to to his segment of his show where they talked about this. But John Campea on his show was really clear about how her consent was not required. And legally, he's right. Her consent isn't. They're public figures. This was a very public case. That said, it kind of goes to the heart of it. And even this 55-year-old, this middle-aged white guy can kind of get, it's like, I think it's all about consent. These people's privacy was deeply violated. Not just in the criminal break and enter, but by the people who, then got the stolen commodity, got the stolen tape, turned it into a commodity. Everyone involved in the chain, including the people who bought it. What's the difference between anyone who bought this tape, videotape, and just a creep who opens your blinds and watches what you're doing? None. And then years later, to make this story ostensibly about, it brings up, and Campea was talking about this, how it brings up interesting issues of, especially in our internet age, about that idea of privacy and, the media frenzy and the public's constant demand for this kind of nonsense. I'm going to push back on that a little, and I picked this way. I picked this poster specifically, although they're all kind of packaged that way. You've got Lily James, who I'm a big fan of, but they've done her up to look like Pamela Anderson in the height of her fame, with the pouty lips, the super sex pot look. And that's on purpose, because this has nothing to do with, we're going to have a deep and interesting conversation about media and demand. No, we want to get back into the purulence of the original story, her sex appeal. If you look at any kind of media uptake, and it's included in Campea's pieces, what did they talk about? How much they made Lily James look like Pamela Anderson. If you Google Pam and Tommy, most of the top stories are going to talk about how many fake breasts, how many fake boobs they went through the course of the filming of it. Off. It's got nothing to do with examining an interesting story about public consumption of media and everything about to, we really want to churn that again because she's so hot. And we don't think, because she certainly part of her marketing of herself. There is, she certainly leaned into the bombshell aspect of her public persona. So what? This sex tape was something between two consenting adults that they put into a vault. It was never meant for public consumption. And so for us to kind of keep going back to it, is just, I think that's bullshit. Now, that said, given that Pamela Anderson, especially Pamela Anderson, but Tommy Lee as well, that they both said we should not be looking at this. It should not have been made. Our consent was not, no one asked for our consent. Or if they had, they certainly didn't grant it. Right there, stop. You know what? And I'm not saying that this should be banned or anything. I am just encouraging you not to watch it. Why participate in her victimization? Why participate in Tommy's victimization? This is something, that's all that's really going on here. Anyway, that's, there's my editorializing for the day. And